If you are trying to maximize the value that you get from your credit cards, then you are probably trying to optimize your credit card setup to get the most amount of points back for all of the different purchases that you are making. But what if I told you that you are wasting your time because your credit card setup doesn't even matter? Well, in this video, I'm going to explain to you why your credit card setup is not as important as you probably think it is, and I'm going to discuss what you should actually be doing instead to maximize the value that you get from your credit cards. But make sure you watch until the end of this video, because I'll also be taking the other side of this argument, in which I'll discuss why your credit card setup could actually be important if you're in some specific situations that I'm going to discuss in this video. So if we jump right into the video, let's first discuss why people care about their credit card setup in the first place. Well, people care about their credit card setups because they want to maximize the value from all the daily purchases that they already have to make. And instead of using a basic credit card to pretty much get 1% back on all of their purchases, a lot of people instead choose to mix and match different credit cards to get the highest value possible from all of their major spending categories. Basically, if let's say that you spend the most amount of money each year in grocery stores, gas stations, and restaurants, then you would basically get different credit cards that are going to get you the highest point multipliers in those categories, and then mix and match your different credit cards based on which card is going to give you the most value for each category. To give you an example, one really common credit card setup is going to be the Chase Trifecta, which includes the Chase Freedom Flex, Chase Freedom Unlimited, and Chase Sapphire Preferred. In that setup, the Chase Freedom Flex would get you the best point multiplier in those rotating quarterly categories, which includes grocery stores and gas stations. Your Chase Freedom Unlimited would be your catch-all credit card that increases your floor and allows you to get an elevated rate of 1.5x back on all purchases that fall outside of your main spending categories. And then your Chase Sapphire Preferred will get an elevated rate in some other categories, like online grocery stores and streaming services, but overall this card will serve as your core travel card in the setup. A lot of people that have the Chase Trifecta will also add in another card like the American Express Gold Card, which is going to give you an elevated rate in the dining and grocery store categories. And while all of that is great in theory, I'm here to tell you that getting 3 to 5 times more in value for specific spending categories is not going to be as significant as you might think. Consistently getting 3 to 5 times more in value for all of your purchases throughout the year is going to give you a return on spend of 3 to 5%. And obviously that's going to be a lot better than just getting 1% back on all of your purchases with a basic credit card. But honestly, I feel like I'm never using my credit card setup because I'm putting all of my spend on a specific welcome bonus. And then once I hit that welcome bonus, I'm just moving on to the next one, because doing so is giving me a much higher return on spend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a concrete example in which I'll compare putting all of your spend on your credit card setup throughout the year versus using different welcome bonuses for an entire year, to show you why the return on spend for welcome bonuses is much higher and why your credit card setup doesn't even matter. Let's say that your highest spending categories are for grocery stores, gas stations, and restaurants, and that you average about $11,000 in spending on those categories per year. If your specific spending in those categories is a lot less or a lot more, it doesn't really matter. This is just hypothetical to show you the differences between using your credit card setup and putting that spend towards welcome bonuses instead. So for this example, let's say that you're using your regular credit card setup and you were able to get about 4x back on these 3 categories on average per year. Well, then that $11,000 in spending on those 3 categories would give you 44,000 points for the year, or a 4% return on spend. But if you instead put that $11,000 in spending on welcome bonuses, let's say that you applied and got approved for 3 different credit cards for the year, and those credit cards were the Chase Sapphire Preferred, the Capital One Venture X, and the American Express Blue Business Plus. Well, the spend requirement for the welcome bonuses on the Capital One Venture X and Chase Sapphire Preferred would be $4,000, and then the spend requirement for the American Express Blue Business Plus would be $3,000, which would total that $11,000 in spending for the year. The welcome bonus on the Capital One Venture X would give you 75,000 Capital One miles. The welcome bonus for the Sapphire Preferred would give you 60,000 Chase points. And then the welcome bonus for the Blue Business Plus would give you 15,000 American Express membership rewards points. And so if you combine the points that you would be earning across these 3 welcome bonuses, you get a total amount of points of 150,000 points, which will give you a return on spend of 14%, which is more than 3 times the return on spend that you would get if you were just using your regular credit card setup. So it's pretty clear that prioritizing welcome bonuses over your credit card setup is going to be the most lucrative in terms of the points that you'll be getting and the return on spend. And there are so many different credit card options that are out there and new credit cards that are being introduced all of the time that I think most people are going to be able to follow this method of continuously getting new welcome bonuses for a very long time. But up to this point, I've basically been telling you why your credit card setup does not matter, but there are some specific situations where your credit card setup could actually be important. So when does your credit card setup actually matter? Well, there are gonna be points in your credit card journey where you are gardening or simply not looking to add any new credit cards at the moment. And if that's the case, then it's going to be important to optimize your credit card setup so that you're at least maximizing the value that you're getting from the purchases that you are already making. Because like I said earlier, optimizing your credit card setup to get 4x back on a lot of major spending categories, instead of just getting like a standard 1x back, can actually still make a difference. So for example, if you were spending $10,000 on credit cards every year, then getting 4x back on those purchases would give you $400 in value, versus just getting $100 in value from that 1x back. Additionally, there are other reasons to care about your credit card setup, even beyond the point multipliers that you would get with specific credit cards. Because like for example, I literally never use my Chase Sapphire Preferred, but my Sapphire Preferred is essential to my credit card setup because it allows me to increase my travel redemption upside by transferring out my points to Chase's travel partners. And similar to this, you might have some other credit cards in your setup that are going to give you additional benefits like airport lounge access, a hotel free night certificate, higher status with airlines and hotels, and overall just giving you additional travel benefits even beyond just the point multipliers on those cards. Plus, once you've been in the credit card game for a while and you already have a lot of the credit cards that are desirable to you, you might just naturally start to rely more on your core credit card setup, and you might just not have the opportunity to get certain welcome bonuses due to things like the American Express once per lifetime rule, or if you're over Chase 524 status. But even if you're at a point in your credit card journey where you're just not looking to add another credit card at the moment, there are other things that you can do to bring additional value beyond just using your regular credit card setup. For certain credit cards, there might be an opportunity to put a certain amount of spending on a card to get higher status. And as an example, one thing that I'm taking advantage of for this year is putting additional spending on my Hilton Surpass and Hilton Honors business cards because I already put $15,000 in spending on my Hilton Surpass card in order to get a free night certificate that I used for my honeymoon, and I plan to put the same amount of spending on my Hilton Honors business card in order to get another free night certificate that I'll use for some future travel plans. Additionally, another thing that you can do to bring on some additional value, even beyond your credit card setup, is going to be retention offers. A retention offer is basically a one-time offer that is given to you by a specific credit card issuer to incentivize you to keep a specific credit card open. And basically what you would do is you would contact the credit card issuer and give them a rationale for why you were considering canceling your credit card, and then ask them if there are any offers available that would incentivize you to keep that card open for longer. A lot of times that retention offer is going to take the form of like a mini welcome bonus where you'll have to spend a certain amount of money in order to get a certain amount of points. I actually plan to go for a retention offer on my American Express Gold card towards the end of the year, and ultimately retention offers are a great way to still get a lot of additional value in the form of like a mini welcome bonus, even if you aren't in the market for getting a new credit card and a new welcome bonus at the time. Also, another way to get additional value even beyond just your regular credit card setup is going to be referral bonuses. Basically, if you are the person in your friend group that is the source of credit card knowledge, or you have a significant other that is looking to add some new credit cards, then you would basically send any of those people your personal credit card referral links for all the credit cards that you currently have. And then when one of those people actually uses your referral link to sign up for a new credit card, then you would be credited a certain amount of points, which is typically like 10 to 20,000 points. And thank you in advance to any of you who use my personal referral links down in the description of this video, because it really helps to support the channel and I really appreciate it. But in conclusion, what are the key takeaways from this video? The first takeaway would be that if you want to get the most amount of value and the highest return on spend, then you should prioritize getting welcome bonuses first for as long as possible. Secondly, there are going to be other opportunities to get added value, even beyond just your regular credit card setup. And even if you aren't in the market to get a new credit card and a new welcome bonus right now, and those other opportunities include things like retention offers and free night certificates. Ultimately, I just think so many people are caught up by needing to have the best credit card setup that covers all of the best spending categories, when in reality, your credit card setup doesn't actually matter that much, because at least for me, I'm usually just moving from one welcome bonus, hitting that spend requirement, and then moving on to the next, and I'm not really having any time where I'm actually just using my regular credit card setup. And speaking on welcome bonuses, some of the best welcome bonuses that are out there right now are going to be for Hilton credit cards. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, then I did just make a full comparison video comparing all the different Hilton credit cards. So go ahead and watch this video next. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.